Hi everyone. So I have fully intended on making a video largely or exclusively just talking about the Margaret Petersen's court cards. And so her courts are named as mother, father, daughter, and son, and are sequenced as such: mother, and then father, and then daughter, and then son. That's how she discussed them in the handbook. The sequence, of course, can be in the opposite direction. If you choose to, it would be son, daughter, father, and mother. I largely noticed that there's a couple of approach you can approach these with. For court card in general, I approach them in a sort of as a spectrum, as a developmental spectrum, as well as in relationship to each other. So they're developmental and relational to me. Some people approach courts as separate nodes of characteristics and personality, and there's a whole variety of how you can approach courts. Margaret Petersen's own approach seems quite not completely in line with how I would approach it. So I tried to use my own take on her approach. And so in this case, I saw a pattern of seeing the courts as a cycle of creation. I also tend to see the courts as a stages of development. And so this particular deck taught me that I can also see quartz as a cycle of creation. It is especially apparent in the suit of flames or fire up there, especially when I work with them, when I drew the Queen of Wands for my tarot perspective experience and have to translate the Queen of Wands to the Father of Flames over here. So I had made that video and I'll link below as well. And so as a cycle of creation, it goes mother, father, daughter, son, like this, like so. And as a cycle of development, I tend to see page, knight, queen, king, or princess, prince, queen, and knight in the thought system. And I've also spoken about that in a couple of occasions. I will also link those videos below. And so that's one lesson, or that's one pattern that I saw here. In relation to that, the mother of flame here is especially true with the suit of flames, as I've mentioned before. And so the key word for me from the handbook, the mother of flame, is that I am flame from flame, as I've mentioned in my other video. And then the father came out of the mother, and then the mother gave birth to the father and the daughter and the son, and the mother gave birth to itself. And if you're a little weirded out by the use of familial terminology in the discussion of process of creation, reproduction, and recreation, I would like to refer you to a video by Taliesen McKnight. It is a long 1.5-hour video, as I probably mentioned in my other video as well, but there's a little segment there that's quite useful to listen to, only a few minutes long, so I will timestamp it and I'll link that video below also. And so once I've decided, or once I've concluded that, at least for me, and I'm not quite sure what you think of this, feel free to comment below if you think any differently or if you have anything to add. Once I see this court system in this particular deck as a cycle of creation, which in itself is a cycle of progression as well, you know, that snake that is eating or chasing its own tail, that sort of something giving birth to itself, reproducing itself, a closed system where things sort of seems to go round and round, but it sort of evolves as it goes round and round in a continuous cycle of reproduction and production, creation and recreation. Another thing I notice here is that this not only is this is based on a narrative of creation, but also the point of view where creation is a point of incubation. Mother Earth is a point of creation. A point of creation is not only a point of incubation, but it's a point of birth. It is the mother who gave birth to everything. Everybody who come into existence had to be born and birthed out of a mother. And so my own personal worldview lend itself more to seeing creation as an act of assertion, as an active act of the yang rather than the yin. Here, the point of creation is the receptive, the incubation, which then allow the process of birth. And so it kind of turned my worldview a little bit into its head in terms of my understanding of creation, where I suppose it goes back to yin and yang. Again, I've mentioned many times where yin and yang is shown like that, where there's no end, there's no beginning. Each of them are enveloped in the other, and one can't exist without the other. So a point of assertion can't happen without a point of reception, right? A point of assertion can't happen without a point of reception, yin and yang. It's a different way of looking at a point of creation, not as a point of that assertion, but as the point of reception. So creation is not that, but creation is this, that opening, that making available a space of creation for the assertion of creation to happen. So that's interesting. And so I would consider this deck to be quite yin oriented, female principle oriented. I wouldn't say female gender oriented. And so it's also clear the mother, father, and then daughter and son, as opposed to the knight marrying the queen, giving birth to the king giving birth to the prince and the princess, and then the prince is going to be a king in the making, and the prince will become a king, take over the world, marry another queen, and produce more princes and princesses. In this case, the main, the ultimate, the start of the existence is the mother who gives birth to everybody. For every fathers and every daughters and every son, there's always a mother. And so that's a very interesting point. It is a big lesson, is that seeing creation, seeing the starting point of creation, even though like the yin and yang symbol and like the snake that eats its own tail, there isn't really a beginning or an end, but the beginning is the end and the end is the beginning. Having said that, having understood that, nevertheless, I always see the starting point, a trigger point of creation has always been, I see God in terms of yang, in terms of the male, in terms of the assertive energy. I see the ultimate source of existence, God, whatever you want to call it, as that point of assertion, and call it him instead of her if I have to choose, because of that understanding that creation is a point of assertion, is an active trigger. And here it is really, my understanding of it is completely turned into its head. And that, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, it's just such a big revelation for me that I don't know why it is, because it seems obvious from the sign of the yin and yang, from the, is it Ouroboros, that snake that eats its own tail? It's just the understanding of where is the head of the snake and where is the tail of the snake. Even though I accept that ultimately the snake is eating its own tail, my understanding of the head has always been the point of assertion. And then, of course, as I am saying this out loud, I suddenly realize that the head is the point of receptive point of that whole cycle. So, And so anyway, so that's second sort of, that's a second insight that I've gained from this. And so the first insight I've gained was actually when I drew one of the coins, one of the quartz of the coins, and what she said very much reflect her position in this creative cycle where the feminine leads the way. I'm going to try and read the excerpt here. Father of Coins, it says, I feel a strong attraction to the woman who brought me into this world. Part of me wanted to remain with her, but the laws of evolution required different measures. My mind has tried to understand this unquenchable longing. I tamed my desires, and my body Fueled by the feeling of separation, I restrained what are called animalistic drives and instincts. Out of this feeling of sorrow and being deeply wounded, I created mighty buildings. I built cathedrals and scraped the skies. I cultivate the land, build gardens and terraces, and harvest the crops to secure our food supply. I discover unknown continents and dig up the earth for treasure. I hoard and distribute, and when greed overcomes me, I kill. Forgetting my origins and my roots, I turn vicious. Remembering my connectedness, I use my abilities to serve my community. The woman I call my companion lifted the evil of my delusion. And from that, you can see that narrative of someone who is separated from his source, from the mother, human from the earth, human from their origin, human from their own nature, separated into the more material world and suffer for it. And so that was my first glimpse of the worldview of this quartz in the Margarete Petersen deck, where the mother is the point of creation, where the receptive is the point of creation and not the assertive, where the point of incubation is the point of creation, not the point of seeding, not the point of that more active assertive, but more that incubation passive receptive is the point of creation. And the mother of coin says, Mother of earth, I am. My being is defined by growth and decay. My body and my vision are wide awake and present. Life has painted me with fine strokes and woven me into trees, flowers, fruits, plants, animals, and the earth organisms which brought us all into being. So that's another clue for me. And then, of course, when I read the quartz here, it's, mother, I'm flame, coming from flame, and then father, I was born out of flame. Mother gave birth to herself, and then mother gave birth to father, etc. And so those are the two clues in understanding the worldview of Margarete Petersen's quartz. And then the other thing I've noticed also is that here, if you take a look, you see a lot of squares, and in the suit of cups and coins, the most free sort of figure freed from the squares are the suns. Sun of coin over here, and the Sun of Cups over here, which sits at the end of the row. And with the suit of flames and the suit of feathers, of fire and air there, the figures that is most freed from the square is the daughters. So I'm yet to figure out why that is, and I might do a follow-up video. I might just write a blog about it. But you see there all the squares there, and then these two are really quite active. It's almost they burst out of the squares are the daughters for the feathers and flames, so air and fire. And then for the coins and the cups, the water and the earth, the most freed figure is these two, the suns. So maybe it has something to do with coin and cups, water and earth being more young, being more masculine in principle, and air and fire, where is it? Air and fire being more feminine or yin or receptive in principle. I'm not sure. So I will definitely follow up on that. If you haven't subscribed to my blog, if you want to, please do let me know if you can't find the subscribe button. I don't post regularly, but I tend to post in huge chunks. Sometimes I have bursts of ideas or energy or motivation that I will write. Most of the times I find it easy to just talk like this, but I do find writing allow for a tighter discourse, and I prefer that actually. But it is more boring in terms of interaction. I think people prefer to, it's more relaxing. It takes less mental energy to just watch videos. So I understand that. But because I don't write regularly, and if you want to receive my latest blog, and I haven't actually posted in a while, please subscribe. And if you can't find the subscribe button, let me know, comment below, email me, and then I'll make sure it's there. So yeah, so that's my thoughts for now. It isn't as in-depth as I want it to be, but I realized that this is quite involved. And like the Tarot of Delphi, I've never actually posted a review or a video on the quartz because it was so involved that I feel the need to write it down. And as a video, it might be a bit too long, or it might be a bit too convoluted. So for now, that's it. If I have a follow-up thought, I will definitely post a video or write a blog post, and I'll let you know. And if you have any other thoughts, this is a learning in progress here. This is I'm thinking as I go along, and I'm thinking out loud as I'm learning, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. If you have any other ideas or any other insights, I would love to hear from you. Please comment below or post a video and let me know, or a blog, and give me the link, or share with us or with me the link down there. And I'll talk to you then. Bye.